In this lesson, we're going to be looking at the developer workflow. And the developer workflow is one of our core philosophies at Raydian, which is when you need a feature, you plan the feature with our planning agent. Then you let the Raydian agent build the feature. Then you, as the developer, test the feature. Once it's working, then you can make tweaks or ask for extended functionality via the iterate stage. Okay, so we have plan, build, test, iterate. Let's take a look. So this is the most effective workflow in Raydian. And sometimes we can skip out the planning phase if it's just a small feature. But if it's a larger feature, we always want to plan because we will get an opportunity to collaborate with AI before it gets to work. This is very, very important. Let's jump back into Raydian. And I'm going to use the page component to go back to my index page. Okay, beautiful animation. So over here we have to-dos. I'm going to click on View To-Do. And this is one of our most powerful features, which involves building your app step by step while using our planning agent. So in the background, when I kicked off my project, Raydian Agent went ahead and created all of these individual to-do list items. Okay, I can click on one, hold, and then drag to reorder them if I like. But basically, I can highlight any one and then say build to do. Let's go to the first one because our agent is actually smart enough to know in which order these should be created a lot of the time. But again, you can jump around in different orders as long as it makes sense in the context of an app. For instance, you're not going to create a Stripe workflow before you have a pricing page. You're not going to create a full usable admin dashboard until you have your certain tables in place. Let's go through it. So the first one says database schema setup. Create the core database tables required for this app. So we need a courses table, and here are some of the columns. Chapters, lessons, we need purchases, and we need progress so we can track user progress. These are all the tables needed. At the bottom, it says ensure all necessary relationships between the tables are established for easy data retrieval and management. Now, the users table is already built in, and we're going to have a look at that in a second. And what I'm able to do here, guys, on the right-hand side is I'm able to actually chat with this specific to-do, or I can ask it to create me more to-dos. And a to-do is basically a feature. So what we'll do first is this database schema setup, because you want to build your database before you do anything else, because you need data. And the agent will always want to look to see what the tables look like, what the dynamic data structure is in place before it builds your features. Okay, so I'm going to simply click on Build To Do. Over on the left-hand side, it's added to the chat. And down here, I can see that I've used 21% context thus far. And it's a very good idea to go check out the Raydian documentation to understand how context management works. Okay, so it's taken that to do, and now it's assigned itself 5 tasks. It's going to first create the courses table. So while it's doing that, there's nothing for you to do. But if you want to, you can look around the app and leave this running. So let's do that. I'm going to head across to the backend because we already have a users table, but it's empty. Of course, we haven't signed anyone up. If I click across to columns, I can see that we have an email, which is a text. We have email verified, which is a true false, otherwise known as a Boolean. We have image, name, etc., plus some built-in fields. And on the right-hand side, I can actually chat with this table. So I could say something like, do you think I have all of the correct columns for the users table? Can you suggest more? Okay, so we've built in an agent into the backend. We've built in an agent for your database tables, an agent for your workflows, an agent for your security policies. So whenever you don't know something, or whenever you need something new and don't fully understand how to implement it, just use AI. So it's got the schema and it says, well, that's a great question. Looking at your user table, you currently have these columns. For a platform like Compass, which has educators and learners, here are some suggestions that could enhance your user profiles. So it says, maybe you want to add a role. And this is exactly what we need because when users sign up to the app, who are they? Are they admins? That would be us. Are they educators? Are they students? So I'm going to say, let's add a role column that defaults to, and let's say learner. Okay, now it's just double checking that this is exactly what we want. Are you ready for me to create the role column on the users table? Yes. Great, guys, that's done. And I probably do need a refresh for this, but before we do that, I'm just going to check on my canvas because it looks like the database schema setup has been completed. And if I go back to view to-dos, now down and completed, I have the database schema setup. I'm going to close this and come back to it in a second. But now we have done the planning phase. The building phase happened with Raydian Agent in the chat. And now we're going to go test. And testing basically means verifying that these tables are here. Chapter, course, and you can see we already have some mock data for you here to use. We have some lesson mock data. We have progress, no mock data on that. We have purchase, some mock data there. And we have user. And remember, we added a new role column here, guys. Fantastic. So happy with the testing. I did iterating before the testing while it was building. I said, please create me another column called role for user, which we needed. So we can say that we have closed the loop and it will be back to the start of the loop, which is planning. I hope you enjoyed that lesson and I'll see you in the next one.